Hello everyone, welcome back to Caditex. In today's video, I will show you how to build your first Android app using Android Studio. By the end, you will have working app running on your phone or emulator. First of all, you need to visit the developer.android.com, download the Android Studio. Once your Android Studio is downloaded and installed, open up your Android Studio, click on the new project. So you will have multiple options to create your project. First one, you see by default it says empty activity with this icon. So this icon is actually representing the Jetpack Compose. If you want to build your application using Jetpack Compose, just choose this one. If you want to have the Gemini API starter, just click this one. Basic view activity, which will have at least like the navigation buttons, some dots for the options icon and the aid button over here, or the button navigation activity, you can click this one. But for us, since we are learning our Android application development, I will choose the empty views activity, click next, give my application some name. I say my Android. Below the name, you will see the package name. This package name, you need to choose some unique name because this one will be used to publish your application to the Google Play Store. And you can see the below that there is a save location where your project is actually saved. You can see this one is under the users, my user, and then the Android Studio projects and the project name. The language, you can choose either Java or you can choose Kotlin. For me, I will choose Kotlin for now. In the future, I will be making more videos on the Java also. And then minimum SDK, this SDK version is actually defined on which version of Android your application will be running. You can see your app will run on approximately 98.6% of the devices. Build configuration is we will do by default. Later I will explain to you why we are using the build gradle.kts and what's it used for. Click finish and wait for your application to load. Since you can see the below here, our application is building. So let's check what we have on our IDE. First up here, you see the build icon, some bug icons, some sync icon, search icon, the gear icon, and your user icon. So this part is actually called a toolbar. Carry out a wide range of action, including running your app and launching Android tools. Below that, we have this navigation bar. This navigation bar, you can see there is a activity man and the main activity.kts. This is actually the Kotlin file and this is the UI file, which the UI we actually using XML for now. This area is called the navigation bar, and when you click on the activity main.xml file, the layout file, you will see some three options. The first one is just the visual look. The second one is the code and the visual look. The third one is only the code look. So here, where you see the coding, this area is actually called the editor window. Create, modify code depending on the current file type. So our current file type is actually layout file, so you are seeing the XML editor. If it is a Kotlin, you will see the Kotlin editor. On the side, we have the Windows bar, two Windows bar. This one is actually used by time to outside the IDE windows, expand, collapse, and visual tools of the Windows. So by expanding, you just click on the small arrow icon, you will see all the files are being expanded. So here we have the first under the app, we have three packages. So the first one is the manifest, which actually define the name of our application, the screens of our applications, and all those, the permissions we will define over here. So everything about icons, the styling, the network access, everything we will define over here. And then below that, we have our com.example.myandroid, which is actually our package name. Under that, we have main activity. So where we will have the coding of our applications. So the main activity is actually the start the start activity of our application. You can actually change that one if you go to the manifest XML and change this part. Intent filter, the action which is actually here, you say that Android intent action main, you can put this under any other activity to make it the launcher, your launcher activity. For now, we have only one activity, which is main activity, and we put that one under the main activity. By default, it is there. We have the test files. This one we will be using for our JUnit testing, to write our JUnit testing for our functionalities. Below that, we have IES file. The first one is the drawable. All our icons, image assets, we will store in our drawable. The second one is the layout. The layout will contain your XML file, which actually belongs to some of the Java file or the Kotlin file in here in your package com.example.myandroid file. So these layouts files actually belongs to these files. You can actually design here in XML and access from your Kotlin to display in your application or modify it accordingly. Map is actually our icons used for our launcher, our application icons. The variable contain the colors, strings, and themes. These colors will contain the colors we will be using in our application, strings that we will use throughout our application. So this value is actually the strings. You can actually put all your strings over here. So in future, it will be easy for you to do the localization. This XML will contain the rules and the data extraction rule. All the rules will be stored in your XML package. So below that, we have the Gradle script. So this Gradle is actually the configuration of our application. So how we currently using the Kotlin plugin for our application, and we are using this. This is our package name, which is actually we will be using to build our application and to launch our application on the Google Play Store. So this will be the main rule for that one. And we have compile SDK. So this one you can choose based on your requirements. For me, I will choose 36 for compile and target SDK, and our minimum SDK is 24. This SDK is actually the compile SDK, means like on which version of the Android it should compile. And target SDK, what version of the Android you are targeting to your application to run on. Below is the script, the build types and release. Like currently we don't have much of the flavors, so we leave all this default, and what the Java version we are using here, and what's the Java virtual machine target version we are using. The dependency will contain all the third-party dependencies you will be using throughout your application, so we will define it over here. Okay, so this is so far enough for introduction. So we will quickly go and modify some of our codes and try to run our application. First, since I changed something in my build.gradle.kts, our project needs a sync to build. We will go to our toolbar window and click on the device manager. You can see I have like multiple of the emulators, but if you don't see any of these emulators, you go to click on this plus icon, create virtual device. Choose any version, any type of device, like Pixel 9, Pixel 8, Pixel 7. Click next. Choose an image, system image for your application, and click finish. You can put the name for your application, for your emulator, whatever you want. Advanced additional setting, you can choose what camera you want to display and the speed and everything you can modify over here based on your requirements. So I have multiple of them. Currently, I have one of the emulator is running, which is Pixel 6 API 34. You can run application by clicking on the play button. So once you click on the play button, you can see running devices below, just below your device manager. You can click that and you can see which of the emulators is running for you. Since our application is ready and I have explained to you the IDE, first let's click on the play button to run our application. you can actually select your emulator on which emulator you want to run. For now, my running device is the Pixel 6 API 34. I will select that one. And what I want to run is app, so I will leave it as default and then just click run. So now you can see your application is running. All you see is only one white screen and one sentence which is called hello world. If you go to the XML, main XML file, and you will see that hello world is actually coming from here, and this is how your UI is populated, or you can see the UI. There is only one text view, and that's contain the hello world. Nothing more, nothing less. So let's start with modifying our XML layout, and then we will run our application. First of all, I will choose linear layout. For this one, the linear layout is kind of like a column, which is like a horizon, which will give you the ability to display your widget or your elements, UI elements in horizontal view or vertical view. For now, I need the orientation as vertical because I want to display the things on the top of each other, from the top to bottom. So my application, you can see now, after I changed to linear layout and I changed this layout width and everything is okay. I want to change here. I don't need this because these are the items coming from the. Okay, I was checking on the emulator. So this is how your application you can design. You saw I changed to the linear layout and we have one text view. And now you see our text jump from the center to the top left corner. How I can bring it back to the center is actually you can just say gravity and the gravity center. So now your text is actually center. Whatever will you write or you put inside the linear layout, the orientation vertical, the gravity center will be displayed in the center. So you see our application contain currently the text view has a text hello world, and I need to give one more property which is actually called ID, and I say TV text. You can give it any ID you want. And how you will access this text from your main activity.kts. First of all, this view you don't need it. All you need it until the set content view. You will create one variable, and this variable you will say TV text or anything you want to give the name to your text view, and you will say find view by ID, and this ID is actually you provide the type, what type of ID you want to grab, and then you say r.id.tv text. So you grab your text based on the ID, and now this variable will act exactly the same way as your text view. So now I say the text view.text is equal to hello world. So this is auto-generated code, and I will just modify it, and I will say welcome to KD text. You see here is the hello world, but here I assign the text like welcome to KD text. Let's run our application and see the result. Okay, now you see our new text is welcome to KD text. All right, so next thing, what you need to do is let's add something called how we can get the user input and then we display it based on the button click. I will close this one for now, and I will show you just here on the visual and the code editor. First of all, to take the user input, you need one XML layout, and that XML layout is actually called edit text. And this edit text, you need to give like the height and width. I say match parent, and height I say just wrap content. What the match parents will do, it will take all the width of the screen. Wrap content will only take the size of the text or the initial size of the edit text or the text view. So here you see web content, it's taking only the size of the text. See here, only the size of the text. But here you see I took all the width, and the height is only taken based on the edit text size. The more you increase the size, the more the height will be longer. So now you want to see, okay, I don't want to take the whole width. I just want some spacing around the screen. For that one, we are using something called padding. So this padding, it depends, like you want padding only from bottom, horizontal padding at the end, from the left, from the right, from the start, from the top. So up to you. But since we need the padding around our screen, I will just choose the padding. And this one I will say 30 dp. Okay, so this is now our edit text layout. So now we have 30 dp from here, 30 dp from bottom, 30 dp from the top. If you go here and select this one, and then you see the properties here. Yeah, you see here the padding is actually defined as a 30 dp. Orientation vertical, ID main. So this is how you can modify it over here also. This is called attributes or the properties. But I actually want to have fully control, and for that I'm using the XML layout. Okay, so this is our edit text, and we give some ID to our edit text, and this one will be ET text, edit text ID. And I say the hint will be enter text, and input type, no input type. Let's say I give some padding to the okay, this is the outer padding in the whole screen, and this is the inner padding just for the edit text. So this one I say 12 dp is actually the inner padding to my edit text. Okay, below that, let's say I create one button, or let's run this application first. You see, this is our edit text. Okay, so next thing, let's build a button that will, when we click the button, we do take the text from our edit text and display on the text. This is what we will be doing. So let's say web content, and we say text submit, anything you want to do, and margin top, let's say I say margin top. So the margin is actually the size, not the padding inside. It's actually the outer spacing. You need outer spacing. So I just need the spacing from the top, from the edit text. How much spacing do I need here? I say 22 dp. Okay. And then here, let's say the layout gravity, we say center, or you can just make this match parent. Okay, no need of this script. So this is how your UI looks like. Okay, I need some margin over here also. I say margin top, and this one also I say 22 dp. So this is our edit text, this is our button, and this is our text. So what we will do, we will write something in our edit text, and then click our button, and then we will display those things in our text view. So you need ID for your button also. I said button submit. Okay. We go to our main activity. I say for button submit is equal to find view by ID, and this one is button. I say r.id.button submit, and the other one is for et text is equal to find view by ID, and this one is edit text, and you say r.id.et text. Okay, Let's go here and I say button submit dot set on quick listener. So this is what we do. When you click on the submit button, we are taking the text. It's by default. Let's say I take a text in the for I say et string as equal to et text dot toString dot trim, and then I say the text, but here I will assign it something like hello, and then put the dollar sign. So with the dollar sign you can access to any string. This method is actually, this way is actually called string interpolation. And that's it. Run our application. Okay, so we have hello world, which is initially coming from our text, and we have button, we have edit text. Let's say I say KD text and submit. See, hello KD text. And if you say my name is something like Ozil, hello Ozil. So this is how it's working. I will teach you something which is like very attractive things to me. Okay, for example, you see here, ID here, ID here, ID here. What about if you have like these kind of layouts, like hundreds of layouts, 50, 10, 20. So what you will do, you need to describe all of them like this. This kind of tiring, right? For that one, let's go here and I say build feature. In here, let's say view binding is equal to true. So we enable the view binding, and how it works. Let our project build successful. Then I will show you. Okay. Now what you need to do is say private let init var, and then say binding and the activity main binding. You will only see the activity main binding if your view binding is enabled here. And then you just need to remove this thing and say binding equal to layout activity main binding dot inflate, and this should be layout inflator, and then say set view content, set content view, and say binding dot root. Okay, now you don't need any of this. We commit this, and now we say binding dot button submit, and here we say binding dot et text, and in here we say binding dot tv text. Okay, now you don't need to define all of these views or layouts by the find view by ID. Okay, this one will make your work more easy. So this is called the view binding. And there is another method, data binding, that we will check in the future. So let's run our application and see if there is any impact. Okay, your application is running. Let's say KD text and submit, and you can see hello KD text. No effect, everything runs good, and you can just say blah blah blah, and you'll see here. And then say Ozil, and you'll see hello Ozil. You can do more things. You can try to add more text layouts. For example, I say these two copy, and over here I say paste at text, and then say at text 2, and here this is button and this one is our text. Okay, now after I click, I take the text from the at string and then say var at string 2 and is equal to binding.at text 2 dot text dot to string dot trim. Okay, now I say if et text and et text are not empty, is empty, that's different. We are not checking here. We just say if at text, if at string is equal to admin and at string 2 equal to password, then we say welcome at text, else we say invalid credential. Let's run our application. This is how you can play around with your application. Okay, we have two texts, and first admin, and then I say 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let's see, submit, and I say invalid credential because it doesn't satisfy our condition. Let's say password and then welcome admin. Okay, this is how our condition works. Okay, you can play around with this current layout and the file and the condition and the coding. So however you want to play with it, we will see you in the next video. In the next video, let's build some fully functional login form. Okay, all right. Thank you so much for watching. Be with me. Subscribe the channel.